When you are constantly distracted, it is easy to confuse movement with progress, but silence helps you see the difference. It reminds you that being busy does not always mean being effective, and that real growth happens when your actions are aligned with your vision. In the silence, you begin to ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? What am I willing to sacrifice? What kind of life am I building? These are questions that cannot be answered when the world is shouting at you, but in the stillness of solitude, they become clear. Silence also strengthens intuition. Deep down, most people already know what path they need to take, but they bury that truth under layers of doubt and outside pressure. By choosing silence, you allow that inner voice to become louder and stronger. You learn to trust yourself instead of relying on the approval of others, and that is where real confidence is born. With clarity, your steps become deliberate, your choices become intentional, and your energy is no longer wasted on things that don't matter. Clarity and silence is not about escaping the world forever. It is about returning to the world with focus and direction. It is about walking into every challenge with certainty, because you have already discovered your purpose in the quiet moments. The silence becomes your guide, your compass, and your power, reminding you that clarity is not found in noise but in stillness. Independence over approval is one of the hardest lessons to embrace because from the time we are young, we are conditioned to seek validation. We want to be liked, we want to be accepted, we want people to applaud us and tell us we are doing well. But true strength comes when you no longer need that approval to move forward. When you can stand on your own beliefs, make decisions based on your own values, and pursue your goals without waiting for the world to cheer, you step into a different kind of power. Depending on approval makes you a prisoner of opinions, but independence sets you free to live authentically. The moment you realize you don't have to explain yourself to anyone, you don't have to fit into their expectations, and you don't have to prove your worth, that is the moment you begin to grow into the person you were meant to be. Living for approval is exhausting because it forces you to wear masks to hide parts of yourself and to constantly chase validation that never lasts. One day they love you, the next day they don't, and if your sense of self is tied to their reactions, you will never find peace. Independence teaches you that your value does not increase when people clap for you, and it does not decrease when people criticize you. It reminds you that greatness is not built on popularity, but on consistency, character, and courage. The people who truly change the world are often the ones who were willing to walk alone when everyone else doubted them, because they understood that the mission was bigger than the applause. Independence also builds resilience because when you stop chasing approval, rejection loses its power over you. You stop fearing the opinions of others and start focusing on the work itself. This is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Approval seekers stop when the crowd stops cheering, but the independent keep moving even in silence. They don't need the spotlight because their vision is their fuel. That independence creates unshakable confidence, the kind that cannot be manipulated by criticism or controlled by praise. Choosing independence over approval is not about arrogance. It is about knowing your worth, trusting your path, and refusing to let the world define you. When you no longer crave the crowd's validation, you become unstoppable because nothing outside of you has the power to control what is within you. Resilience in isolation is the ability to endure the seasons when life feels empty, when support is nowhere to be found, and when you are forced to walk through challenges with only your own strength to rely on. These are the times that test your spirit the most, because it is easy to keep going when people are cheering for you, but it is much harder when the applause fades and you are left alone with your struggles. Isolation strips away the comforts and exposes your raw strength, teaching you that you are capable of surviving even without constant reassurance. It is in those lonely battles where you learn to push forward despite rejection, despite failure, and despite the weight of doubt pressing against you. Every person who has achieved something significant has faced moments of isolation. Not everyone will see your vision. Not everyone will believe in your dream, and not everyone will walk with you through the process. Many will doubt you, some will leave you, and others may even criticize you. But resilience in isolation means refusing to quit just because you are standing alone. It is the understanding that solitude is not punishment but preparation, that the silence you face is shaping a strength that will carry you further than any support system ever could. When you are isolated, your emotions are tested. Loneliness can easily turn into despair if you allow it, but resilience teaches you to transform that loneliness into focus. Instead of dwelling on who isn't there, you channel your energy into sharpening your skills, building your mindset, and strengthening your foundation. Each time you rise in isolation, you prove to yourself that your worth is not defined by who stands beside you, but by the fire that burns within you. Resilience in isolation also gives you confidence in your independence. When you have endured dark days alone and still move forward, you develop a certainty that nothing can break you. You begin to see rejection as redirection, setbacks as lessons, and solitude as a training ground for greatness. Those who cannot endure being alone often crumble when challenges come, but those who have built resilience in isolation stand firm because they have already faced the storms without shelter and survived. This kind of resilience cannot be given to you by others. It is forged in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when no one is helping, and when you decide to keep moving forward anyway. Self-reliance creates leaders because leadership is not about commanding others. It is about having the strength to carry yourself when no one else is willing to. Many people wait for someone to save them, to guide them, or to push them forward. But true leaders are born when a person decides to rely on themselves and take ownership of their journey. Self-reliance means you stop waiting for permission and start creating opportunities with the resources you already have. It is the mindset of responsibility, the understanding that no one owes you success, no one is coming to rescue you, and no one can walk the path for you. When you embrace this truth, you begin to develop the initiative and discipline that separates leaders from followers. Leaders are not built in comfort. They are forged in adversity. Self-reliance forces you to face challenges head-on, to solve problems without expecting someone else to hand you the answers, and to make decisions with courage even when uncertainty surrounds you. This process toughens your spirit and sharpens your judgment. Each obstacle you overcome on your own becomes proof that you can handle more, and this proof builds the confidence that others recognize as leadership.